Greetings, programs. This is Wretch. Welcome back to Sherlock Holmes, Crimes and Punishments. And we are on our way to Scotland Yard, guys, to talk to Wiggins' brother. We went ahead and investigated Half Moon Street.
Mr. Holmes! Whatever brings you here so late at night?
I'm interested in the case of young Leighton Chapman. He was arrested earlier this evening and accused of a double murder.
I beg your pardon? That case is quite clear to the police. Or are there any new facts that we don't know about?
Who knows, Inspector?
Look, you are free to investigate, of course, Mr. Holmes. Chapman was arrested with a revolver in his possession, which you can find in the evidence room. The suspect himself is in custody.
Did you find anything else on his person?
A few personal belongings. Nothing particular, Mr. Holmes.
Thank you, Lestrade.
More of the same from Scotland Yard. So we are actually here to talk to Wiggins' brother, Leighton. We went ahead and investigated Half Moon Street in the last episode, and already we've got some conflicting evidence, so we don't know what exactly is going on. Let's see. We got a pocket watch, an apple, some cigarettes, and a revolver.
A cheap watch, bought with his own money, no doubt. These cigarettes are filled with cheap tobacco. Nothing interesting. So this is the gun that Leighton was holding when he was caught by the police. It is a Webley revolver, a reliable weapon. It seems as though the shells were not removed from the cylinder.
Brilliant. Can we go ahead and open it up? Two shots were fired.
2 out of the 6 shells have been fired. There were 2 shots.
Interesting. Okay, 2 victims. Leighton's revolver. Kenneth Butler and Brian Riccati were the victims of a double murder carried out by one person. Common statement. But there were different shots. One sounded completely different from the other. Firing position. Turner could hear the contrast between 2 fired shots as they were made from different points in Half Moon Street. Turner could hear the contrast between 2 fired shots as, in fact, 3 shots were made. At first, a single shot was fired, and then 2 guns fired simultaneously directly afterwards. Oh. That's interesting. Let's not confirm that yet. There's a common statement. The witness testimonies in the crime weapon clearly point to one possible culprit, Leighton Chapman. And no connection so far. Or left, rather. Okay. Let's have a chat with the man.
Please escort this suspect for interrogation.
Get a good look at him.
Good evening, Mr. Chapman.
Who are you? I've got nothing to say. It's all a mistake.
Calm down, Leighton. I have come here to help you. To find out if you truly are innocent, as your younger brother Wiggins has told me.
My brother? You know him? Then that means you're...
Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, blimey. All right, Mr. Holmes. I'll tell you everything.
That is a very prominent scar you've got there, sir. Occasional fights. Grew up on the street. No, that was not an occasional fight. Oh, he's got a shiner. Recent beating, resisted arrest, hot-headed. Alrighty. Fancy scarf. Office clerk. And Westgate prison tattoo. Black, though, instead of red. I wonder if that has anything significant. Or there's any kind of significance between the two ink colors.
Good. Tell me your account of what happened.
I left my work, and I hurried up to see the fireworks in Whitechapel. I was late, so I decided to cut through Half Moon Street. I saw the first fireworks light up in the sky. I bumped into a constable on a corner before entering Half Moon. Then suddenly, what with all the firework flare, I saw two men. They were both lying flat in the middle of the street. I stopped where I was. I thought about turning back to the police, but as I was thinking of that, I saw a third person. He was leaning over the body that was furthest from me. The second I saw him, he raised his head, and he stared at me. In a flash, I saw his gun, but he made a dash for it instead, and he escaped through Whitechapel Street.
So you might still have had time to return to the constable.
I panicked. I didn't know what to do. Anyway, I approached the bodies just to see if they were still alive. I saw that one had blood pumping out of his stomach. He was dying. It was horrible. The second one was already dead. He had a hole in his head. He was holding a gun in his hand, though. I took it, and then I followed the third man.
Interesting. Pray, continue.
I turned a corner, and I saw the man standing in the middle of the street. He seemed to be in some sort of panic. And then, Mr. Holmes, something strange happened. I told the police and they laughed at what I said, but I swear to you, my words are true. I started running towards him. But then I was blinded by a flash. It was so bright that I hardly saw anything for a good dozen seconds. But I kept running forward. As I arrived in Whitechapel, I heard a woman screaming. And then I was caught by the police. But there wasn't a trace of that man. Of course, then they found a gun and all that blood. I couldn't see the murderer escaping and all that mess. Perhaps I was still half-blinded at that moment.
A thrilling account, my young man. Leighton, are you able to describe the person whom you saw standing in Half Moon Street?
Well, I wasn't able to see his face at all. It was too dark, and he was too far away. I could see his silhouette.
And what about that?
Nothing so special. He was wearing a jacket. He was quite average in size and his weight.
I see. Was there anything else that struck you at the time?
No. But perhaps... It's strange, but I can't remember the sound of his footsteps as he was running away. Perhaps it was because of the fireworks or the surprise of me seeing him.
Maybe he wasn't wearing shoes. Or wearing specific shoes that would allow him to not make sounds on the cobblestones.
Leighton, I confess I am puzzled. Why should a young lad like you take a gun from the hands of a dead man and set off in pursuit of a probable killer?
I know. I keep wondering that, but at the time it was like a reflex. A criminal ought to be arrested, and he was armed.
You were willing to risk your life. That was a little foolish, unless you wanted revenge.
No, Mr. Holmes. I was just being brave and stupid.
Turner's contradiction. Westgate prisoners. Let's go ahead and throw that in.
I'm sure that you were, but I believe that you may have recognized one of the victims, Brian Vercotti. You knew that gentleman well, did you not?
However could you know that?
You have a typical tattoo of the Westgate Brotherhood upon your hand. I observed exactly the same mark upon Mr. Vercotti. You came to know him from your sharing a past prison sentence. Am I correct, Mr. Chapman?
Oh, God. You're right, Mr. Holmes.
Would you tell me a little about Brian Vercotti?
We were convicted for a robbery. Once in prison, both of us joined one of these fraternities. During that year, we tried to help each other out, you know?
You were quite young then, I believe.
Yes, Mr. Holmes, we were. We'd only stolen a pound of meat. After we were released and when I saw what my little brother had become, I decided to work towards living an honest life.
And Vercotti?
He had a hard time. His sister had died in a Whitechapel dispensary while he was in prison. He had no family anymore. Our paths split. He fell back into crime.
So you lost him?
Yes. And for around 2 years, I heard no news of him at all.
We shall see you soon, young man.
Interesting. Lootless. The violent crime committed in Half Moon Street by Leighton Chapman could have had a personal motive. And is this the same thing? Oh! The person whom Leighton Chapman describes in his statements as a figment of his own imagination created to vindicate himself. I wouldn't say that necessarily. There's only 2 options we can go through here. Did you guys see that? There was one right here and then a really big one right there. Yeah, see? Then Leighton's statements about 2 victims. So let's go ahead and try simultaneous shots. Reenact the crossfire at Half Moon Street. We'll see. It's experimentation time. So if we go back over here, we gotta search the archives and examine the dead bodies and perform a reenactment. Okay, let's go ahead and do that first. We'll head back to Half Moon. And then we'll search the archives. Because the fact that the bracelet wasn't stolen is definitely an interesting part of this. Oh, we go into a cinema scene?
What's up with you, lad? What are you waiting for?
I'm waiting for my brother to be released.
Your brother?
The one that you caught, beat up and imprisoned.
Ah, the murderer.
He ain't killed no one, copper.
Watch your mouth, lad, else you'll be joining that worthless brother of yours.
Okay. One of the victims possibly fired his gun twice. Find out who it might have been. Hello, pole.
A fairly long pole with a forked end.
Select the gunman. Alright. We will try him first. And if that's the case, then the bullet would be...
I am unable to see any higher. I need to find something to lift my lamp.
Gimme.
This should be useful.
Okay. Oh, hello there, bullet impact.
This is most definitely a bullet hole. The brick cracks are fresh. Watson, there was a third shot fired in this street.
Okay. Because otherwise it would have ended right into the window. That would have been interesting. Third shot. 2 victims. Crossfire. Kenneth Butler and Brian Vercotti both died of crossfire, with each of them holding a gun. One of the guns is now missing. Let's see. Crossfire. Double murder. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Okay. Now we can make some more assumptions here. Leighton Chapman's statement regarding the jacketed man who disappeared at Half Moon Street now seems reasonable, as the 3 shots at the crime scene prove the presence of a second gun that is now missing. Reenact Morrow's pursuit with a lamp. Okay.
Constable Marrow, I would value your assistance in this investigation.
It would be my pleasure, Mr. Holmes.
I would like to make sure that there are no places in Half Moon Street where a man could hide while you were running through it with your lamp.
All right, Mr. Holmes, what should I do?
Take your lamp and start walking, just as you did before, and try to find me.
Understood.
Ooh, hide and seek? And now we are this guy. Constable Morrow. Hello, Sherlock.
I can see you very well, Mr. Holmes.
All right, Constable. Let's try again. I'll find another place to hide.
Marco. Hi.
Here you are, Mr. Holmes.
All right, Constable. Let's try again. I'll find another place to hide.
Be kind of terrifying, very Jack the Ripperish. Bum 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 bum. Just gonna check all the nooks and crannies. Are you up here? I want to see if he's pulling like a river from Firefly, from the Serenity movie. Okay. Oh, there he is.
Mr. Holmes, it wasn't difficult to find you at all.
It is obvious now. No one could escape Constable Marrow's lamp while hiding in the street.
Corners in sight. If we can assume that there is one more person in Half Moon Street at the time of the crime, then there was no way forward or back for his escape, only up. Let us reenact the action, recreate the fireworks described by Leighton, and attempt to climb the wall. Okay, find the flare gun and climbing equipment.
I'll do anything to save my brother, Mr. Holmes.
Could you find me a flare gun and some climbing equipment?
I'm always wondering what's on your...
It would be my pleasure to assist you with your investigation, Mr. Holmes.
Okay, well, actually, I bet we have to go back to Baker Street for that, huh? Yeah, I would bet money about that. 'Cause there's the cab. Let's go. Oh, what is this?
Locked.
I did not know that we could go into other places. Hold up. Let's head to the other side of the street. Excuse me, guys. Alright. Can't go toward anyone. Let's go back to Baker Street and check the archives, and we'll probably find what we need there. I would assume, at least. Okay.
I'm always wondering what's on your mind, Holmes.
Analysis table. I could have sworn it would be here. Oh well. Let's at least get this taken care of. Chemistry. encyclopedias. Okay, art and architecture. History.
That is not the one I need.
Okay, not in Greek history. Botany. Ah! These beautiful antique jewels represent a part of the Hellenistic treasures collection. Depicted are the 5 heads of mountain rams upon a bracelet, necklace, and ring, each made of pure gold. So this is the necklace, or excuse me, the bracelet part. The 5 rams of Mytilene have been missing from the museum since 1885.
Here it is. I need to continue my research in my archives.
Okay. 5 rams. So back here to encyclopedias. Now I guess we would go with Greek history?
That is not the one I need.
Negative. Medicine. Oh, okay. We checked the newspapers to 1885. The Hellenistic treasures were stolen yesterday evening while being transported by cab on their way from the British Museum to the Glasford Fine Art Exhibition. Pawn shop owner Kenneth Butler contacted Scotland Yard that night and provided information regarding a gentleman who had attempted to sell him a collection of historical art at his pawn shop in Church Street. The police have since captured the described man, a professional thief by the name of Vincent Foley, who had been in the process of escaping London via the port. He was recognized by the surviving driver of the cab that had transported the collection of Hellenistic treasures. Vincent Foley refused to confess as to where the remainder of the treasures were hidden. He was eventually imprisoned. The lost treasures are still to be found.
Here it is. One of the victims, Kenneth Butler, was involved in the story of the stolen Hellenistic treasures. A visit to his pawn shop should tell me more.
Maybe that's where we get the climbing equipment and such. And it's relatively close to Half Moon Street as well. Okay. Hello. Oh, he's like, easy does it. Easy. So we got a pub. Oh, can't go in the pub. Here's the pawn shop, though. Use key.
Mr. Butler's key matches the lock perfectly.
I forgot about the key. Do. Shelves. Up, climbing
These
equipment.
tools are exactly what I need to climb the wall.
Can we take the bagpipes too? Aw. Maybe we can find the flare gun back here.
This is exactly what we need in order to imitate the flash of the fireworks.
Just like I planned. Ooh, nice violin. Holmes would approve. Counter.
It looks as though Mr. Butler kept a careful record of his operations.
Well, that's convenient.
The ram's heads. This necklace belongs to the 5 Rams of Mytilene collection. Interesting. That means that Kenneth Butler owned a part of this collection all this time, 10 years after the theft.
Hello, Kenneth. I remember you once told me about 3 pieces of golden jewelry with ram heads from ancient Greece. You still got them, right? Well, good news for you. I found a man loaded with money who's crazy about those jewels, and he's ready to fork out a small fortune. I can arrange a meeting with this money bag for you, but I want you to cut me in on the deal. I'll be waiting for you at the crossing of Great Alley and Half Moon Street on Sunday evening before the fireworks. Brian Vercotti. Okay, long lost art. That's going to add something. The search for the missing Hellenistic treasures could be motive for the crime that was committed in Half Moon Street. Mr. Turner picked up the bracelet directly after the murder, but the ring is still missing. Could we go for the burglary motive there? And nothing there for statements. Now the question is, where do we go from here? Oh yes, we need to do the experiment. Now I'm sure none of you folks are going to attempt to come in here since I've unlocked the door, and apparently have not locked it back. I'll trust you. What could possibly go wrong there? Actually, what does that say there on that sandwich board? Dysentery at St. Adolphus Orphanage. Well, we have the tools. And I guess we're going to do the experimentation now.
Why are you looking at me all the time like that?
I'm just watching you, lad. I never know what to expect from people like you.
People like me?
Yes, street beggars and thieves.
I ain't a thief.
Oh, no? Then where did you get whatever it is that you're gnawing on? I very much doubt that you bought it.
What ain't seen can't hardly be stolen.
I got an interesting rapport. Okay, guys, well, we are back here on Half Moon Street. We're going to use the flare gun and the climbing equipment to see if someone could scale the wall quickly. And I think that's a good place to go ahead and end the episode. We'll start the next episode with that experiment and see what information we can get. Hope you all have enjoyed it. If you liked the episode, please leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, that'd be a big help. And we'll see you next time. Later days, everyone.